motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Been moved and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next is the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Moved and seconded, Julie seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next, is there anybody here from the public who'd like to speak to something that's not on the agenda? Seeing none. New business, location of substation. Hop up, present to the council.
Good evening, council, mayor. Come before you tonight to try to get approval for the substation siting that we've been discussing for several months here now. It is on the city-owned motel property on 56 Highway. I think we got a map of that in the council packet earlier this morning. I apologize, I didn't get that to her in time to get it in earlier. But there's a copy of it there, and I have another copy, a blown-up copy, if you guys would like to see it. So, the transformer was ordered in first part of February and has a 1-year lead time. We did receive our second payment, or our second bill for it, which is the second 30% of the bid. We received that today, and which means that all the drawings are completed and they're going to be sent to Mid-States for approval, and then they'll start building the transformer. So I believe everything's on track at this point. So far, the property has been cleared of trees, and the stumps were dug up. I think they were finished last week. So I think that piece of property is ready if you guys are ready to approve it. Any questions that I can answer for you?
Jeff, I have a couple questions on
Okay.
this. Because I know it's been, I don't know, a year since we've discussed this location. So, can you just, because I've gotten some feedback since it hit the agenda this time. I've heard from some citizens that aren't very happy with us talking about putting it on the motel lot, because their stance is, we bought that property, cleaned up, and now we're gonna put a substation on it. So, that's kind of where I'm coming from, I guess, on this. If it goes, if we find another, well, first of all, how many square foot does this thing take up?
I believe it is 120 by 80.
So about city lot,
Mhm.
roughly 8,000 square feet.
Yes.
If we, so now that, I know at one point we looked at that, the mobile home park. Yeah, I didn't see the measurements. The measurements on there were from the survey section. We were looking at that mobile home park behind Cody Anno's. Now that he owns that, and it's somebody local that owns it, have we thought about reaching out to him to push it back into that corner to where it's not along the highway?
I haven't heard anything about that, no. That wouldn't be a whole lot different from the current location that we're talking about, as far as hooking it up to transmission and distribution. It would be basically adding another block to it. The bid was basically based on the old motel site, but I can't believe a block would make a big difference on that.
Well, that's what, like I said, just after they reached out to me, I started looking at the GIS kind of in that area to see.
Is it in floodplain? Because I know the other side of that creek,
Other side.
we were looking at that piece of property too, when the city owned it, and I know part of it was in the floodplain, so.
No, it's not in the flood. Not that I'm aware of. I'd have to
Okay.
look at the GIS and put the GIS on it again, but I don't think it is.
So would the city have to buy that?
We'd have to purchase it, yes, on that, something like that.
We already
It's
own
just-
this, don't we?
Do what?
We already own this.
Correct. It's just a matter of, do we want to take up a lot that's along our corridor for the substation versus a secondary lot that's not? So I think that's kind of the discussion.
We had approved this lot, but that's not our area though.
We never voted on it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
March 7th of 2020.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't ever
I
recall
went
this.
back and looked at
Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, couldn't remember. It's been so long. March 7th again, 23,
23.
a year and a half ago.
Over a year ago.
Yeah, that's it.
I think part of the discussion of this was really the only option. The other part wasn't available.
Yeah, at that time it wasn't available, so.
It wasn't like there was a choice, if I remember. I think we were
They
thinking
were
they
looking.
were maybe interested, but it wasn't pursued. So what's the timeline on needing to get this done?
We need to have a board ready for a transformer by February. It's a 1-year lead time.
We have a list of 3 that we looked at when we did that
Three
in
potentials.
March.
Yeah.
And that was, and this is.
That was one of them, but there was no offer, I don't think there was a big price that was set, was there, that they were willing to sell it for?
I don't remember, I'll be honest. I obviously didn't remember that we had
I mean,
One of them was in the floodplain and the other one was still
right,
tied up with the motel or hotel or something,
right.
as I recall. And we voted on this.
Yeah. so
And
it was-
allowed,
it was the only one we
allowed
had.
Ed's Garage to put cars there until we got ready to use it. I don't know if that was mentioned in the vote or not, but that was something I think we discussed.
No, it was not, but I did pull it from last year.
How do you see the floodplain on the GIS?
You got to overlay it.
There's a layer.
Yeah,
I'll look for that.
it's on there.
Right here?
Yeah. No, that's the measure 2 on the bottom. It was like.
Oh, I see.
So how
I see.
much more would it cost to put it a block over? As far as the lines and all of that?
I don't think it would probably change the total cost, a
Really?
few percentage points. That there would be the cost of the lot, whatever that would take. The time frame concerns me a little bit, but it's probably doable because that lot's clear now. And one thing to address what Casey was talking about as far as appearances, you guys, we talked about you guys, and what was bid into this project was a decorative fence. It's not intended to be a chain link fence. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the Evergy substations in our area, Kansas City, Topeka. They're like a decorative concrete fencing. That's what was bid into this project. So as far as aesthetics, it should be a pleasing build, not something similar to our other substation that we have now.
What's the purpose for wanting to change it, Casey?
Huh?
What's the purpose for wanting to change?
Because I heard from citizens that they don't like where it's being placed. So when I hear something from citizens, I'm gonna bring it to the council.
Yeah, I guess to that point, it's probably not gonna be an eyesore like everybody's used to a substation, but to me, if it minimizes the ability to have that lot be something in a commercial, if it makes it less desirable for a commercial piece to land in there, then it might be
You
worth
mean the
looking
lot
at.
where we've got it?
Yeah, because it's part, yeah.
Just to move it over?
There wouldn't be enough left for anybody to do anything with.
What about the lot we're gonna move it to?
Well,
What if that became a commercial?
It's off the highway.
Yeah, it's not a good commercial location.
That's where the old trailer park was at?
Yeah. It's off the highway. It doesn't have highway access.
If I remember right, I think what we started to get interested in the old motel lot was, I think there was that property owner behind it to the southwest that was interested in selling. And it was kind of being tossed up that maybe that northwest part of that lot, if the city were interested in purchasing that lot, would be a good place for it because it'd be tucked in behind the tire shop there. But and then I think that didn't have any steam behind it, ended up not being a thing we were interested in or what have you. And then, okay, well, there's the city lot right there, and then there was the property across the street, and then I think Mr. Earls presented us with a chunk of land. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Then we had another site that we looked at around the middle school as well. But
Oh, that's right,
yeah, those were the 3 original, with
Yep.
Mr. Earls, the hotel site, and the middle school site. Was the 3 that were brought up by Lou Staley and Brink. in
So
their
on this
study.
map, Jeff,
Mhm.
the square, is that then where the fence is gonna go, I assume?
It's similar, when we will probably do some adjusting to that, but that is the rough footprint of what it would take out, yes.
So it really does take up, I mean.
It's not gonna leave anything other than some parking, to the west. There won't be really anything to the east. There'll be driveways for, the gates that'll be surrounding it. So, no, there would not be any room for probably any commercial in addition to the substation. It's kind of an odd shape.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely an odd shape, that's why, yeah.
Well, though, if the city procured the land for the trailer court, we could certainly use some of that for, attached to it, it abuts the old motel lot. I mean, you could make this a bigger
Oh, yeah.
commercial.
Yeah, I think that was kind of what we're hoping could happen, is push it up behind Ed's.
That's what I thought. It was, she not being for sale.
She wanted
Yeah, but
a ton of money.
Okay. So then this lot, Cody owns this now?
Yeah.
I thought his was across the street from his.
Yeah, Cody owns to the west.
Oh, so it's not the trailer?
It's
park
right
piece?
behind his.
It's the old trailer.
It's this one right here?
It's right behind.
Up here?
It's west of Ed's shop.
Gotcha. So we wouldn't be able to expand,
Correct.
so you
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
That's what-
mobile home is, she wanted
No, I wish it was,
So-
I wish it was that one that butted up.
and that is some viable for commercial, not as nice.
Said I'd bring it up, so. And I think it has some merit, I mean, it really does. Don't have very many lots along 56.
Yeah, that's kind of,
That's my,
I didn't realize it was, the footprint was gonna take up that.
I didn't either, I thought
Use that
it'd
whole
be
lot.
back in the corner. It took it way more space than I thought. 'Cause I think when we did this lot years ago, Ed had drawn out a map, and Glenn, you might remember this, but it showed about a 5,000 square foot building that could sit over where you have your substation.
I remember that too.
And then parking along that finger that goes to the west.
I thought this map and another alternative location, which would have scooted it up closer to Ed's, were on a council packet at one time, but
It
I
may have
didn't
been,
look.
I mean, you're talking a year and a half ago,
Yeah, I
and as
know,
many
I know.
council things that we've been through, I don't remember. So, you could be
Yes.
right. I don't remember seeing this footprint, I guess.
This decoration cement that you're talking about, is that the kind they put under underpasses and stuff like that?
It's probably similar, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's got designs on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if these will have,
Buffalo or Eagle?
I don't know that these will be that ornate, but I think it'll be possibly a ribbed concrete. They're pre-made
pre-planned.
slabs that they drop in. They really do look nice.
Yeah.
Way better than chain link fence.
This is one of those decisions that's gonna affect our community for phenomenal.
and I'm just afraid of orphaning the rest of that land. Will be, I don't know what we'd use it for.
Yeah, you take all the usability away.
And don't know what the price of the other land would be, so it's kind of, I mean, the question is it worth even asking that to see what that,
I'd be interested.
I hate to have to spend money to buy more property
Yep.
when we have property already and we've already kind of decided on it.
Our first decision was to go this way, and I can't say that was a bad decision. But it went that way, and that's the way we decided to do it way back in March of '23. And I don't see any reason to change it. I don't see any reason to add more money or spend more money to do something else when we've already got what we want, and we've got it designed, and it's been set to do that way.
Well, that lot, I'm guessing is more valuable than whatever lot that we would purchase. So when somebody comes through, and it may not be 6 months from now, a year from now, but when somebody comes through and wants to develop that and the city sells it, I'm guessing it might be a net gain. versus
plus the
others.
business you'd plop in.
And not to mention the impact
with
with the, new commercial business.
You'd have a chance to sell this land where the post substation going in for more than we would buy this new piece for. So you'd make a net profit. Put that substation in there, you're not gonna be able to sell any of that. So,
I
With-
see your point.
anyway, with
I
Corey's
understand
point
what you're
is, the
saying.
land could be a net neutral if we can sell this for whatever we buy the new one for or more.
I understand.
But when we use this land, it's a sunk cost, we're not gonna be able to sell the rest of it.
I understand what you're saying, but you're looking at something that we have nothing in line to do that with right now, and we have already made a decision at a period of time before to do what we've got designated to do here. And I understand what you're saying, but there's no insurance there that tells me that that could happen.
Well, that's the question at hand, we have new information now, there's a new owner of that land. That was new information from when we made that last recommendation of land here. And the question is do we take a little bit more time and see if it's even worth pursuing? They come back and say, no, we don't want to spend that much money. But we have a new opportunity.
We don't even
I don't know
know.
why we wouldn't explore it. What's the harm in exploring it?
That we don't even know that that piece of ground would be for sale as a
Exactly.
part of.
So why don't we find out?
Jack,
And then
Are
we can
you
bring all this
familiar
information and
with
see
this
if you still
property?
think it's a bad idea.
That they're referring to? Yeah, vaguely. I do have one concern, and that's the trees. So when you're talking substation, you can't have anything that could fall into the substation. So a 100-foot tree has to have a 100-foot clearance from the outside fence. So from what I remember of that, it seemed like there's a lot of tall trees there, but
There is.
don't you
There
want
is.
to walk that piece of property before we decide anything?
oh yeah, I think everybody needs to take a look at it if that's
Alright.
the direction you want to go.
I don't think we're deciding anything other than, do we want to take a look?
It sounds like we're not under the gun. We got a little bit of time here.
I don't think
I feel
we
like-
need to drag our feet, we need to
Right.
expedite it.
Sure.
And when do you have to pour the concrete?
I assume it'd be before freezing.
Before freezing, you say?
I would assume.
Are the trees on the city lot, on the motel lot, are those now excavated?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There's two smaller ones that are right on the property line that Pat was going to try to talk to the property owner and make sure that they were okay with us removing those as well. But they're not near as tall, but they could
There's
potentially
some
be a
pretty good
problem.
sized trees over there in that trailer park.
Yeah, yes. But I think we'll be far enough east from that,
Far enough what?
for this east
Far enough
part of the
west.
street. No, the substation would be far enough east from that east tall tree that I believe you're referring to. It would not be in the fall zone.
I think you were talking
So
about.
what do you want to do, guys? You want to let this slide by and check this out?
I'd like to authorize Jeff to walk it and, somebody to contact the landowner, see if they're willing to, and if they're willing, what they're asking for. And then we have information, they may say no, and it's over.
I don't necessarily agree with you, but we're at a standstill, so I'll go with you.
You don't have to go with me. I mean, we could still end up right here with what we have, and,
We could. I don't disagree.
yeah,
I don't disagree with that theory at all.
okay.
So if we're not gonna do anything with this, let's move on. Give him authority and let's go.
I agree.
It was 2 weeks. Bring it back next meeting. I
And
think
we have it back next meeting with information on that as a target.
Okay.
So do we need to authorize Glenn to
No,
negotiate that?
No, because we want to get that information back and see if it's even a feasible solution.
So
We can authorize it, but it's one.
Somebody has to go.
Well, what
Well,
I'm
we-
saying
he
is
would be
he's
making an
gonna talk
offer.
to the
No, we're not.
landowner.
Yeah, someone needs to go find out.
He's getting a price point.
Yeah.
We're not making an offer.
Yeah, he'd just be gathering information.
Right, that's what I mean,
Yeah. So, yeah.
that Glenn would do that, go and
Right.
talk to the
Yeah, Glenn or Jeff.
landowner.
Talk to the landowner, see if he's willing to sell.
Yeah, see what his,
And how many square feet do we need there?
Sounds like
I guess the
9,000
same.
square feet.
9,000 square feet?
Similar use.
9,000 square feet's a lot of square feet.
Yes.
What's that lot? What size is that lot?
I'm not sure. I really haven't paid a lot of attention to it, so.
Give me 1 second.
I mean, I assume that the lot's big enough. The trees concern me a little bit without standing there looking at them.
238 is about 744, that's not right. That's how many, it's not
So
square
not only
feet,
do
that's,
we have to buy the lot, we have to move trees.
you have to touch it. Yeah.
So we're spending more money.
I know there's some on the property, for sure.
33, almost 34,000 square feet is that lot.
So maybe they'll sell a third of it.
I think it's worth at least asking.
If they're interested in selling, would they subdivide it at all? Or is it all or nothing?
Well, I think we just passed a rezone or something on that lot for duplexes, so they're already planning on platting it. So,
But
I know.
platting it next to a subdivision is different than platting it.
correct. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's gonna be a business decision on them if they're
Yeah.
going to sell a third.
Some or all.
Yeah.
So does it have to be rezoned again for the substation on it?
There's another thing I want to ask about, Casey.
Yeah.
That street that sits south of the car wash,
Yes.
does that street, actually, is there an easement through that property for that street? That we're
On the
not
north
going
side.
to- Huh?
On the north side of the property, yes.
That's a good question.
So is that going to make a difference?
There's already a street there.
Huh?
There's already a street there. The city never connected it over the creek. There's a
Yeah,
low maintenance
that's
street.
Baker Street.
It's Baker Street. That's how you access the building.
So there's a certain amount of easement and right of way there for that street, is that correct?
There's an 80-foot, probably 80-foot right of way. That's what most of the old city is. 60 or 80.
That's something that we need to take into consideration, is it not?
It's
Looks
already,
like it's 80.
yeah, it's already on the, it's shown on the GIS map. So the 33,000 square feet didn't cover that street area.
I'm sorry?
That 33,000 square feet of the lot size didn't cover the street, because the street's already in,
That's exactly.
on the north side. A gravel street essentially.
Good. Good.
Good on that.
All right.
All
You want to check that out, Jeff? And
Yep.
just report back, we'll have it on the agenda at the next council meeting.
Okay.
So
All right.
put this to bed.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Next item, I have to review receipt for.
All right. This is annexation of property ordinance 1498. You should have it in your packets. Let's see here, the description. Oops, that's the wrong one.
It's annexing into the city.
Yeah. Okay, yep. So, is everybody familiar with where this is at? It's, being at the northeast corner of northwest quarter, section 34, so it's up, East 1750 Road, and I think 400 Road is the north end of that, so you wanna talk
Yes.
about that for us and kinda describe it, because
That's
it's from the
400 road,
description.
is 400 road a blacktop?
Yep, 400 Road is the blacktop.
Is
Is
It's
that
also
what
known
goes
as the
to the lake?
Lake Road.
Yeah, they're both blacktop though, right?
Yeah, they're both blacktop. North 400 is the Lake
Who
Road.
owns this property?
Casey does.
Who?
Casey. Semino.
Casey owns the property.
Casey owns the property. He's,
Casey, you mean Mayor Casey owns his
Mayor.
property?
The one that just
So
recused
how did it
himself.
get on the agenda? Can he do that as a mayor
Yes, he can.
yeah,
and tell a conflict of interest?
He just recused himself.
He's not,
He can't-
part. He's not
If
a
he's gonna
part.
be involved in it, he needs to be out of the room, does he not?
No. It's live streamed, Gary.
It's what?
It's being broadcast,
I understand that.
so we're not gonna lock him in a closet so he can listen. He just can't participate in the conversation. It's perfectly legal.
So anyway, this property is on, like if you're going to the lake, it's on the right-hand side?
yes, it would be on the.
That big empty piece
Yes,
of ground?
it's
Okay.
that big.
Where
empty-
does this touch the city?
So this touches the city along East 1750 Road, which is like where Signal Ridge is.
Yeah,
So it butts up right next to the city limits.
I think there's a
So
map in
it'd
the
just
packet, but
be
it doesn't
that
list the
road.
roads, right?
What,
There's it shows in the package, it doesn't
375.
show the road, the
Yes,
400 road.
so that road, actually, like if you're, it's like a short road that goes like that, and then it goes to the high school, is that correct? Am I-
Yes.
Am I looking at
yes,
the right
yes,
property?
yeah, you're thinking correctly,
Okay,
yeah.
so
you
this
would-
property, the road would be in between Signal Ridge properties
Correct,
and, okay.
Yeah,
yes,
in that corner up the,
I'm-
right there in the
good.
corner.
I'm good.
and it goes, I think, down the hill,
Yeah, that goes,
down in the
then,
valley, down the.
Then you have
Correct.
To the east,
Ridgefield.
yeah, yeah.
that's down on what we call North 375 Road.
Okay, I'm good.
You know, the parcel itself is 31 acres. You know, the applicant is planning on, you know, turning it into residential housing.
So it's already been platted, right?
It has been platted into, a boundary survey has been completed for the overall parcel. The whole 31 acres. It has not been broken up into separate.
Okay, well, this shows that there's,
That's a concept that hasn't been
oh,
completed yet.
okay,
But that's what the intent is
Okay.
for. That's the long-term intent.
okay. I just wanna be sure I know what's going on.
You know, so these are 3-acre lots, basically, 3 to 4,
Correct.
and a 7.
can the sewer reach that far?
I would have to get with the guys out there at Public Works, to see where the closest, tap would be, to be able to see if we could extend it out to them, or, you know, if they are greater than 3 acres, they could have their own septic system as part of our,
That's about, that'd be 5 acres.
well, we had voted, I think it was like a year or two ago, to be able to go from 5 to 3.
But you can have 3 acres if you have water pressure. You gotta have 5 acres, and you have to have 5 acres for a well.
Yeah, I'm not for sure, right?
Yeah, I am.
So, okay.
I mean, Signal Ridge is right there. I mean, I would have a hard time believing it wouldn't
You're right up the top. of
take
the
a
hill.
lot, yeah.
And again, remember, this is just annexation. There's multiple steps beyond this where we'll have opportunity to say, you know, for whatever reason, no, that's not what we want. If a developer comes with a plan that we don't like, we can say no. So this is just an opportunity to potentially put something there. And the first step is annexation. If you don't do that, it'll never be developed.
We got so much stuff to be developed now, do we need to do more?
That's open for
We got-
discussion.
We got the John Deere that's placed, we got the place up here at the end of High Street. Right there by Glen Rockers, we got places going up north. Do we need to bring in more annexation at this time?
To me, I don't think it ever hurts to annex. Yeah, I think the developers will kind of make the market decision. They know what all's going in, and they may say, you know what? We're gonna wait a little bit, see how the, you know, absorption goes on the ones going in, but that's, you know, I don't feel prepared or comfortable in making that decision on behalf of you know, what a developer might want to do. I think if they do develop it, it's in our best interest to do that, you know, for the property tax and all the benefits of the, you know, that we get for adding new rooftops, so. The amount of land we have to annex is definitely a limited quantity. It's whatever touches our borders. And you know, if there's any, you know, to me, I think this warrants a first reading. I don't know if there's any timeline that we need to accelerate this into the decision tonight. We're making it in 2 weeks. Are you aware of any?
Not that I'm aware of, if, whatever the council sees fit.
Unless the council's comfortable with making it tonight, or do you want to wait 2 weeks and get feedback or think about it, or? I'm okay with making it first reading and delaying the decision till the next meeting. What are your thoughts?
I don't see it.
You don't see the first reading, or you don't see,
I don't see annexation.
okay, so you're ready to vote tonight?
We probably vote the same way.
Right, that's my point, is you don't need 2 weeks to think about it or gather input, you're ready to
I would,
move.
if I vote tonight, I vote no. But I have a question about this. And I'm not, and it's probably a question that I ought to know the answer to, but I don't. You're acting as mayor now?
I am leading the
Yeah.
council meeting,
Do
yes.
you lose a vote?
What's that? No.
Okay.
So what would our reasoning be to decline annexing land?
We have an excess of it now.
In what terms?
We have plenty of developing land.
As I understand it, land is a challenging thing for municipalities to come by annexing, and you should leap on it whenever you get a chance.
It's what?
This is property taxes that we would be
I understand that. I
increasing.
know that.
So I can name all the reasons why we should annex land whenever we have an opportunity. Why specifically, I'm asking a fellow council member why you're an automatic no.
Because I think we have enough land already annexed that's in the process of being built and constructed on, that we don't need to start another one.
But those are already, they're already getting developed.
That's right, they are.
That's the challenge, and I'm gonna reflect back to our strategic
But they're
planning.
not developed yet.
What they're in the middle of it, there's dirt dug up.
That doesn't mean they're in the building. They don't have streets in, they don't have
I
sidewalks
think
in.
they're
They
committed.
don't have water in, they don't have sewer in. None of them do.
Their investment's there, they're already committed to it. I think that those are already gonna happen. We've already voted on those two specifically out of
You
High
asked me
Street.
what my vote was, I give you my vote.
I'm asking why?
I just told you why.
Because we have too much land?
Because you got too much going on now. And I understand it's a tax thing.
Yeah, you're
I
gonna
understand
turn
all-
away,
I
you're gonna
understand
turn
all
away
that.
property taxes?
I understand all that.
I don't think you do.
This go before
I don't think you do, Jerry.
Are you trying to tell me I'm dumb?
I'm telling
No,
you,
it doesn't.
you're saying,
And it's
you're
not
saying
right.
all the reasons why we
Ask
should
that question.
annex in, but you're a no.
Ask that
No.
question again.
Just for the sake of having a no?
Yeah, no, not for the sake of having a no.
Well, sometimes I gotta ask, I don't know, sometimes, I mean, last couple votes, there's been some inconsistencies on some things, and I'm gonna clarify, I wanna know why. You ask me why I'm voting, I'm gonna ask you.
I told you why.
Okay,
Because I feel like we already have enough going on.
what does that mean?
What's it
If
mean?
we're trying to grow at a reasonable rate, what is your level
We
of
have
enough?
enough going on.
What's your
We have
ceiling?
enough development going on right now that we don't need to annex anything. And I understand that it's a tax thing, that we could get more tax money for it. I understand all that. But we have development going on here, we have development going on there, we have development going on up here. We could have development going on out there.
So let's say those get developed and then we're at a standstill because there's no more land to
And
annex
at
that's
that
for sale.
time, this will probably still be available.
I don't think that's how land
And we
sale
get more
works.
taxes out of it by then. Of course, we lose taxes on it too,
How would we lose taxes on it?
because we didn't take it in and get the taxes to start with. I'm only one vote, Corey.
I know, hey,
Hey,
Jerry,
give
you
me a
give,
chance to sway our
you,
opinion.
you
based
give
on-
me, you give me the rundown on all
I'm
my
sorry?
votes. No,
I mean,
I'm sorry?
you shake me down on every vote that I make, and you wag your finger at me, and I'm asking you, I wanna know, because here's my issue with it. There was a vote not too long ago where the council member had to recuse herself, and that was about her land, and the golf course had come in, and they had said that we, as a leasee, the city leases land to the golf course, we are asking to sublease that land. And you voted no on it. Whereas 5 minutes before
I
that,
didn't vote on it, as I
Yes,
recall.
you did.
I
You
thought,
voted
I
no.
thought there was no vote at all.
You voted no, and
You made the motion and it never was
I'm gonna
seconded.
explain why I'm asking for some consistency.
never was
because
seconded, so
then
there wasn't a
5
vote.
minutes before, Santa Fe Trail Historical Society came to the city and they asked, can we sublease the land that we lease from the city? And you said yes.
Corey,
I'm just wondering.
the difference between those two scenarios that you were talking about is that the Historical Society came to the council first and asked if they could do it. And the other landowner did not do that. So it's not the same. It's not the same thing.
They were both on the same agenda. They were back
They
to
were,
back.
but it was, the way they went about it was two different ways.
So are we voting no on things? I'm just asking, I'm a part of this body, I want to know how we vote on things. So are we voting no on things because we don't like the principles of what's being presented or because we don't like the process? Because if it's a process thing, I don't know why you wouldn't say, I think we should kick it to the next council meeting. And that's not being said. And I'm just wondering why that wasn't said and why we're acting
Why
one
would
way
it-
toward one organization,
Why
one
would
way
you
toward
take
another.
process?
We're not,
Where would process come into this at?
Because
What
it was
is
how it was
process?
presented, because it was, you're saying that it was how it was presented to the council, that Santa Fe Trail Historical Society was more upfront, I guess, the other one was not up. Am I understanding that correctly?
no.
Because look at it from my perspective, we told two organizations two separate things. And I've been hearing a lot of consistency questions being the last several years, and that seems really odd to me.
But
There is
I
a
mean,
lot.
you've
I
voted
agree
to annex
with you,
land
too.
before, and
Boy,
now you're voting
There is a lot
against
of
it.
consistency, an awful lot of consistency, there really is.
Okay, so excuse me for presenting some instances of inconsistency. You voted to annex land before, why not now?
Because I think we have enough.
According to what? What measure?
I told you, I'm not repeating it again.
We
I
have
said
enough,
it-
that's all you
I have
said.
said it 3 times, I will not say it again.
Okay.
I think we're done with that conversation, it sounds like. We'll bring it back to, I think you had a question for Russ for some clarification.
I couldn't remember with annexing property if it goes before the planning committee or not.
So to answer your question is no. So on an annexation, the property owner can fill out a petition to have his property annexed, him or her, have their property annexed into the city. And it does not go to planning commission, it comes straight to city council
Okay,
at that point.
I couldn't remember.
Now,
so.
Once if the property gets annexed, then it would, as it gets developed, then it would go planning commission and then on to city
Okay.
The
council.
developer would say, I've got a plan, I want to then take it to the planning commission and get that approved, and then it would come to us.
I couldn't remember the.
Yeah, it's, we don't do it enough to
Yeah.
make it a memory item, so.
Okay.
I'm convinced we need to make this a first reading. If nothing else, I'd like to have this conversation again in 2 weeks. But it gives us a chance to think about it. If you've got more rationale as to why not, I'm yours, I'd like to hear it, and why. So unless there's a motion on this, we'll move to the next item. Okay?
We don't need a motion to bring it back for a
No,
meeting.
no,
I didn't,
just, it's first reading.
yeah. Okay. Sounds
On the
good.
agenda, it was in our packets, and we talked about it.
Sounds good to me.
Next item is
You
conditional
don't want
use.
to hand that back to him, he's not throwing it at me.
I'll reserve my comments till later. Next on the agenda, conditional use permit. Russ.
This is ordinance 1499 for conditional use permit. basically for short-term rental, kind of also known as like Airbnb. The property is located at 506 Baker Street. This was heard at Planning Commission on August 13th. It passed with a 5-0 vote in favor of approving the conditional use permit to give the recommendation to City Council to vote. We didn't have anybody from the community come out to voice any kind of concerns at the hearing, whether it was in person or written.
What's short time?
Short term, it means like if they rent it for the night, kind of like, since we don't have a hotel in town now, or motel,
Yeah.
they can do short-term rentals,
Okay.
to where they,
Understand. They can do short-term, full-time.
correct,
Okay.
yes.
Have we defined short terms
No,
on our rental? I mean, do we have a defined definition of
I'd have to go back to,
before they become a tenant?
Well, we require them to get a conditional use permit in order to even offer a short-term rental option.
does this have to be
So
inspected?
normal rentals don't need a,
Do they be inspected?
Right.
Yes,
So it's one
yes,
step,
they would get
But it
inspected
could, I mean, so
to be able
limited
to
term.
do that.
No, that it's bed and breakfast.
They
night?
could
Stu would do it once a
come to an
year,
agreement, live
What's
with
that?
them.
once a year.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's
this
kind
just
of,
gives them an
You-
option.
Okay,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
it.
Stu would
Once a
inspect
year.
it like once a year.
so that's a clarification, I don't know if you heard it, but, with this special use, it gives them the option to make it short-term, where it's a day or a week,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and not like a rental for
Right.
months. So, I mean, they could do that still, but it gives them the option to do them both, short-term and long-term.
Correct.
Well, I needed the justification for short-term because I'm thinking, okay, they want to do this for 3 months and then they're going to close it up.
They
That's
could.
why I said short-term. That's why we came up with the answer, short-term means he can do it all the time for night after night after night.
Yeah.
That's why I asked the question about short-term, just so Corey can understand.
Appreciate the condescending.
It's typical.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the public like to speak to this agenda item? Seeing none, council discussion.
I make a motion, we give them a conditional use permit for short-term.
It's been moved, is there a second?
I'll second it.
I can second it, I just didn't know if there was gonna be any more discussion.
I thought it was gonna have a little more discussion, I'll take a little bit surprised, that's okay though.
I saw you reading
I'll
it.
withdraw my second until the discussion's over.
I saw your eyes going like this, so I thought maybe.
The only point I wanted to throw out was that with the, with the motel closing, I think we are kind of stressed, and I think this Maple Leaf, we're really gonna feel it, and, I think adding these types of, conditional use permits is almost inevitable without a motel.
Yeah, how many do we have currently, you know?
I don't remember anyone that.
5 or 6. I think.
5 or 6, I want to say it's actually 6,
Okay.
and we have 2 more that are potentially
But
coming.
we haven't, those before we were on council.
No, I remember doing some,
No, we've done
We've done several.
probably about 3 or 4 with you all.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
Is the old.
For Airbnb specifically, I remember the one for the, they had a kitchen. Was that an
No,
Airbnb?
well, before you guys were on council, the
think about
bed
it.
and breakfast.
Okay.
They were both commercial kitchen,
That's,
bottom,
okay, that's right.
short-term
I
on
remember that
top.
one.
So we have a motion on the floor that wasn't
A
rescinded.
second.
It's been re-reseconded by Julie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Property rezone, Russ.
Okay, this is ordinance 1500. This is for, the property is, basically, it's 300 Baker Street. It's located right on the corner to the west of the car wash on 3rd and Baker. It's just south of Elite Chiropractic. And this is for a rezone to go to RP3, which is basically a planned multifamily residential, which means you could build a triplex or you could build a duplex on that lot. It just gives the option depending on how everything fits.
Who owns the lots?
I do.
Oh, they're your property?
Tell me again where the location is. I'm
So,
sorry, I have
We're
a hard time.
right behind Elite Chiropractic.
Okay,
There's it's just right there to the south. And
Next to
then,
that row of duplexes.
and then there's a row of duplexes to the west. And then there's the car wash to the east is where it's at. It's located right there on the corner.
I think I got it.
Any other questions for us or the property owner?
Or the, no, I mean, I think it'd fit right in nicely with those other
Doesn't matter.
multifamily homes.
And you said it was been through planning?
Yes.
Yes, it has. It was through Planning Commission on August 13th. It had a 5-0 vote in favor of recommendation for approval from City Council. We had nobody from the public that was opposed to it. We had people that were for it because I talked to landowners. So before it even hit, so.
Good idea.
Was there any commercial thing in there before?
No, that parcel was actually connected to the old, to Elite Chiropractic or the salt mine, and that's where they used to have a fence
Oh, okay.
back in there,
Homecoming stag, all that was in
and
that.
stag
Yeah.
and all of that.
Been to a few
So,
places.
there used to be remnants of an old stage back there that have since been disposed of now, so
That cottonwood tree is
massive,
fruitful.
yes.
I'm sure it has plenty of nitrogen.
I used to have to spread out the cotton fibers that I used to eat them.
Any other council discussion on this agenda item? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to rezone the property at 300 Baker Street to multifamily housing.
Second.
Moved and second, Jerry?
Second. I did a second.
No.
I
Are you
second.
yes or no?
Yeah.
Corey? Scott?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Next, council committee reports, budget and finance, Scott.
Yeah, we did not meet since the last meeting. We will meet this Friday, 7:30 a.m. and we're gonna start looking at the utility rates for 2025. Make sure we line up with what we passed in the budget. So we'll be kind of bringing that back to the council with what the rates need to be, and how that relates to what we passed in the budget. So we don't get
This is-
behind like we have.
And this is for,
Good idea.
We're gonna start with electric, and then we're gonna do water and wastewater. We'll do all three, bring it to the council, maybe one at a time. And then because I think we have ordinances due up at the end of the year on water and electric.
Correct.
you'll be up for election again, Scott, before you get all this
So
done.
so we have to redo the ordinance for all three anyway, so.
Or are we committed to looking at each ordinance?
Right, so whether we change the rate or not, we still have to look at it and reapprove it as a new amendment.
You know that, don't you?
What's that?
You'll be up for re-election before you get all that done.
Gotta get done by the end of the year. We gotta set the rates. I think the ordinance say they, if we don't renew, then they just
They remain.
remain the same, so. So that's that for our next meeting, and whatever else you guys think we need to talk about.
Okay.
Well, again, I appreciate the fact that you're doing all that. I thank you for that work.
It's a group of dedicated individuals, and you guys make the hard decisions when we bring it to you.
Community development, Corey.
Yeah, we met, so, let's see, it was the 20s, no, we met the 19th, I think. Just the two agenda items that we kept on there that we had agreed to send back to committee regarding the common consumption and the food truck ordinance. We spent most of the time, we had some people who had spoken in public comment, some local businesses show up to the ordinance, got some good feedback, or to the meeting, got some good feedback regarding the ordinance. We spent most of the time on the food truck one, as it was the first agenda item, and we kind of had a hard stop and only got to briefly talk about common consumption. But I can kind of tell you where some of the sentiment was coming from. It sounds like, as far as the common consumption ordinance, for what we briefly discussed of it, it sounds like there's sort of an openness to maybe Thursday through Sunday, basically from the people who spoke at the committee and the business owners involved, stakeholders, what have you. And maybe capping at midnight, both nights, so it would be the Thursday at whatever time to midnight on Sunday, or maybe whatever time on Sunday. Like I said, we only briefly discussed that topic as we had to move on, but the food truck ordinance, it sounds like both businesses who were there on behalf of the food trucks were encouraging or open to a food truck-like zone where there's a demarcated place for food trucks to be at all times. I think just as a matter of consistency and having available resources and kind of just knowing what you're getting every time. And so that was something that we were gonna kind of kick to the next committee meeting and discuss on the 23rd, a little bit more in depth on what that would look like, and hopefully be able to bring it back to council soon to kind of have some discussion and some input and guidance from some folks who spoke at the committee level about both ordinances. But that's where we're at. Like I said, the next meeting's on the 23rd, 4 o'clock, 2nd floor, City Hall. I didn't know if anybody had any more, yeah,
I have a
to
question.
take back to committee, yeah.
I had somebody contact me and wanted to know why the community center isn't going to be called Bauer, like Baldwin City Bauer Community Center.
I don't
Example.
know.
Well, there was kind of a committee decision at that time, a couple, 2-3
Well, I
years
didn't-
ago,
I
just to
didn't
keep
know.
it general Baldwin City, because so many people gave money for it, they didn't want to.
Okay, well, this person said that the Bauer family had done so much in the community, and the building was donated by the Bauer family. So they were thinking it should be in the name. It's not my, you know, it's
Yeah,
not
that
me,
was,
but-
and that, Julie, I'll be honest, that was discussed in committee, and the sentiment was, the committee didn't really want to pinpoint anything, one, because we did have a $100,000 donation also, so, but we didn't want to name it, you know, just after, for one donation, that was equivalent to the building cost at that time, so it was really kind of a, you know, do we choose, you know, where to go?
Well,
It wasn't
I
discussed.
just thought I'd bring it up, and I did tell them that they could contact you, and you could talk to them about it.
Yeah, I remember that discussion kind of being had at the committee level. I think it was the volume of donors and sort of everybody that made up that piece of pie. And
Because I never came to the council there for the name of the building.
No. We are putting a big sign up on inside the gymnasium, thank you, Bauer family, Stephen Allison, Bauer family.
Hmm.
So it is recognized inside.
I think there needs to be some level of recognition
Mhm.
in
They're
there.
getting
Absolutely.
They're getting a big sign equal to the $100,000 donor, because again, at the time, the building was worth the same as the largest donation, so we're like, let's make them equal
Okay.
inside there.
So
So
I just,
there was
Said
a
I'd
thought
bring
that
it
was
up.
given.
How much money is involved in it so far, do you know?
How much was donated?
No, how much money total is involved in it?
Around 2.2 million,
2.2?
roughly.
that includes the tax credits, so.
I'm sorry?
That includes the tax credits, correct?
Yeah, you back off the 750,000 plus the 300,000, we got about $1 million of money coming back to us from that 2.2. 2.2 million is the total cost of the,
it seems like though that it should have been a council decision, I feel,
for what?
for the name.
Well, there's been really no name besides Baldwin City Community Center. I mean, we haven't.
Well, but if you discussed it in committee, it seems like it should have been brought to the council.
No, because we had been asked from donors, what would it cost to name the building? So that's where the naming came up, and we're like, let's just stay away from trying to put anybody's name on there or selling the naming of the building. let's just keep it Baldwin City, so that way we don't put one person above another. So it wasn't,
Well, I mean, it came to the council to decide on the city flag, so it seems like this would have been appropriate to bring to the council too. This might-
Did we
this might-
change, I mean, I'm trying to give that some thought, so when we did some of the final voting on some of the budget stuff, I mean, it was called, on paper, I think it was changed to there was at one point where we stopped calling it the Bauer Building, I think, when it became a funded project, I think.
when we started getting the donations, it's kind of when because we did have people ask us for
I remember
costs
that.
for naming,
I remember that.
so. We kind of left it generic.
Should have been brought to the council, I feel.
I mean, we are the council, we can bring up that at any time since we started talking about it.
Anytime, anywhere.
You brought it up tonight. We
It's
could've
not
brought it up-
engraved in
We could have
stone.
brought it up a year ago.
Well, I brought it up because of the
I
person,
understand, what I'm saying
but
is,
it got me to thinking that we
Understand.
should have had it brought to the council.
yeah, I understand. The point is it was in front of the council for several years. We all had the chance to, public had a chance to come forward and make this
I don't think
recommendation.
we ever talked about the name of the building.
Well, I
Maybe
mean,
that's all we've ever
it's
called it.
incumbent on us to
Yeah.
bring stuff up as we see it come in. I mean, I'd never even blinked twice at it, because I remember that there was the issue with people asking for the naming rights, and we were like, this is a
We're
community
not-
center.
We're not putting a sign on there that says,
Right.
well, I mean, there's not gonna be something on the outside that says either. It's not gonna say Baldwin City.
It doesn't?
Mm-mm.
It says gymnasium.
This was all done.
Yeah, I mean, there's no signage going on the outside for either one, so the recognition will have to happen inside.
This is
Sounds
all
like
done
it's
before I got here. Can there be a plaque made or something?
What, yeah, you talk about a banner.
It's
That's-
literally a 5 or I don't know, 6 or 7 foot. Looks like a painting. It's going to be a high end. Essentially, it's a sticker, but I don't want to call it a sticker because it's more than a sticker. It's a high end piece of graphic with the thank you, but Stephen Allison Bauer family in the gymnasium. I don't know how else to say it. It's huge. It's not huge.
Is it attached to the building, or is it set on its own?
It's attached to the
It's attached to the building?
Inside.
inside.
Yeah, oh, inside.
This is all inside.
I heard the inside while ago, but I didn't pick that up.
With that,
I guess what I was, excuse me, go ahead.
go ahead, finish. I'm
I guess what I was thinking of, you see small bronze plaques or whatever they are, copper plaques or something, they are just round, small ones that give a description of something, not with a whole lot on it. Could that be done and put it on the outside?
We have
of the
that
building?
also for all the donors. There's gonna be a plaque in there with all their names.
On the outside of the building so people can
Not on
see
the
it?
outside, on the inside.
They gotta go inside to see it.
Yes.
I think the outside, you start messing with some of the historical stuff, so I think that's, yeah, you gotta keep the insides where you can kind of maybe have some freedom of creativity.
Is this building under the Historical Society?
Yeah, SHPO is overseeing the whole thing and giving us yay and nay.
I don't think I realized that.
That's where the 700,000 in tax credits comes from. So in the spirit of that, I know I jumped the gun last meeting talking about the community center. So we had mentioned, we had announced that maybe the next council meeting would be in there
October 1st
October 1st, all right?
is the day that we will.
Right.
We'll see about the,
I've confirmed it twice.
What's the over-under on that one?
so we have one more council meeting in here.
One more council meeting in here.
Okay.
The IT, the AV stuff was gonna be installed right during our second meeting, so that's why I pushed both these meetings over there, because I didn't wanna pull them out and prolong it even further, so.
Sounds good.
Is the acoustics gonna be better there than it is here?
No, it'll probably be a little worse.
I was gonna say it's getting
Is
worse.
that right?
bigger area.
But you'll have a microphone right in front of you, Jerry.
Well, and there are sound,
I'll have a
speakers.
microphone.
There's
It's not the
phones.
microphone I need in front of me. I need bigger hearing aids, I guess.
there's no sound absorption in here at all. And from what it looks like in the data that I saw, those foam, there's a lot of sound.
There is inside the room where we'll be sitting, there's a lot of sound absorbing materials. I mean, behind us is sound absorbing. Go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, if I could speak to that, the council chambers itself is set up to manage sound very well and to work well with the speaker system.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a gymnasium, it's gonna echo, but, within the council and the way the speakers are set up, it should be well managed.
Thank you.
Public safety, Jerry.
I'm sorry?
You're up, Public Safety Committee.
We had no meeting. It was canceled.
Public Works, Julie.
I'm sorry?
We have
I
not-
don't know, was there a reason she canceled? Because I talked to her on the phone and she said, yeah, it was gonna be, and then within 45 minutes, she called me back and said, no, it had been canceled.
I don't know. I don't know.
I was just wondering if you knew whether she would have felt bad at that time or.
I don't recall.
Do you have anything on Susan?
Huh?
Do you have anything on Susan?
No, I don't want to talk about anybody that, in a public meeting, about anything private like that.
Public Works did not meet since our last meeting, and our next meeting is on the 12th of September at 9 o'clock.
Chief Plains, Scott.
Before we move on, I just want, I saw something in the budget, I saw when we passed it, I know these are just placeholders. And maybe you guys can clarify or talk to Public Works, but I think there was in 2025, 164K street rehabilitation for 9th Street north of High. That's the way it was listed. And I didn't know if that was just a placeholder for, street work in general, but I guess the question I would have for the committee is, is that a plan? What is that plan?
I'll have to, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Between High and
I'll have to
Grove?
look it
If you
up.
go look at the budget by fund
Okay.
in Public Works, it lists out, and there's a,
Okay, I'll look it up.
it goes 23 or 24, 25, 26, 27. It's there in 25. I was just curious, because I think that's gonna be a big decision on what we do with those brick streets north of High on 9th Street.
I don't think I bet that, Scott, it's a placeholder and it's gonna be used for overlay on other streets.
Okay, well, that was my thought too.
Because I would think that if we're messing with our brick streets, that would come.
It was pretty specific, and I may have misread it, but I thought, that's odd.
I'll look it up and
Okay.
I'll bring it up at the
Okay,
committee and see.
and it may have just been listed wrong in the budget.
Yeah, I'll check on
Okay,
it.
thanks.
I would, I would think.
Well, yeah, it's fine, I don't remember talking about it.
Yeah, no, I don't know anything about it.
And it needs help, for sure, if you're driven on it, so I think the question is there a plan for that? Making that more drivable with some of the street rehabilitation budget?
I'll check with Rob and we'll see.
Whether hot patching it would be a good start,
They've been hot patching.
not down 9th. though.
No, between High and Grove it's a motocross
It's
track.
tough.
Yeah.
You know, some of those citizens have told me they enjoy it because it keeps traffic speeds down.
It does. It
So-
keeps traffic off of it more than anything. People just don't use it, so.
That reminds me that you said that. I also had somebody contact me about putting speed bumps on Lawrence Avenue.
So,
Yeah, I
It's our
got
truck.
that too.
well,
And
we only own half of parts of Lawrence Avenue.
I know, well, I sent it to Susan's committee.
Okay.
I blamed it on the county.
Good
Well,
call.
it's public safety, right?
That's not my department.
Yeah, well, I said, I'm not in that committee, so
That's a public safety issue.
she'll need to bring that up.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd mention it in case.
Did
those
they
people
come and
are
see you, or
listening.
did they come or call you?
I don't remember.
They came to my house.
Oh, okay, they didn't come to.
Everybody comes to my house.
Scott, strategic planning.
Yeah, no meeting, still waiting on the employee survey results.
I think we're supposed to get that this week, is what he said in the email.
We got the report this morning?
We got it this morning, yeah.
Oh.
You know what?
I've received it, haven't looked at it
So we need to
too
try
much
to
yet, but we
set up a
got it.
meeting, let us know when you guys want to meet, and we'll get the committee rounded up.
Yeah.
Shoot us some dates, times. I'll see if the committee is available.
What was this?
I'll-
What was this?
The employee survey is part of our survey that we outsource. The first employee survey results
Oh.
are back.
There's Ryan.
I'll email you and Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan probably want to be there to,
Yeah.
his schedule is going to be critical. Either early that or Zoom in or whatever. Okay. So TBD on the next meeting.
See, Administrator, staff comments, anything?
Just gonna announce that we did get the survey. That's what we got. Well, you jumped ahead on that here, so.
Yeah, I'm not
That's the only thing I
ready
had
for
on
that.
there, so.
All right, any more council comments?
Yeah, I had a question for Corey.
Go ahead.
You said something there. Did you say establishing a certain area that the food trucks could go to?
Like a, yeah, like a designated zoned off area where, yeah, food trucks can have just a place to go.
So they wouldn't be wherever they wanted to go in town?
It sounds to me like, yeah, the opinions from the committee were that, or from the business owners or interests were that they would like a
What-
demarcated
what
specific
business owners
place.
Are you getting feedback from, do you know?
Everybody, I mean, pretty much everybody who spoke during council.
Oh, the girls that own the food trucks.
Yeah, yeah. There were a couple of people, but I mean, they kind of have a voice, or sounds like they're kind of the voice of that group of small businesses that have voiced that they would like an area. So that was kind of toward the end of the food truck conversation, and we didn't get to dwell on it too hard, so I don't have a lot to present, but it's not, that's just one of the things that they voiced an interest in having. Potential area where food trucks can be. I don't know if that, we didn't get into if that's gonna have electric, plumbing.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd make it permanent.
I don't know. We, like I said, it was
Yeah, I mean,
toward
it's
the
just-
end that came up, and I
I
was, we
mean,
were trying to recap everything, and then it kinda got, I was like, oh, okay, so is that something that everyone's interested in? And that's kinda,
What's that business called that's in the, that looks like the caboose that sits down here in the mall?
jitters,
Jitters?
yeah.
Now, what's that classified as?
I don't, you know,
railroad?
I'll say that.
What is the classification?
I remember when that fellow.
I imagine they probably have a conditional use permit from back in the day,
From the city?
but, yeah.
When that island went in there, yeah.
I bet when they planned that, they got a conditional use permit to place that there. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna adjourn.
Second.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.